I'll give you a little clue. I am your DJ today. We'll get to this later. When I was first approached regarding today, I thought this is incredible. I get to share something that has been a big part of my life. And as weeks passed, my thoughts were like a crate full of records, all unmixable. Because the only thing running through my mind, what can I bring today to hopefully give maybe one of you that wow moment? And the more I thought about it, made me realize it is staring right in my face. One of the many things that lies at the core relationship between the DJ and the dance floor is that wow moment. You may say, wow, I had a great time. Or you may say, wow, I danced all night. Or you're going to be my favorite because you're going to point at me and say, that DJ, he played some good stuff today. Because as DJs, we're always looking for that certain sound, mix, style, that unique something that captivates and grabs the dance floor. Now, I could come here, bring all the equipment, amaze some of you with the latest technology, while possibly bore the living daylights out of some of you, because it's a style of music that is so unappealing. However, being a tech junkie, I will cave in later and briefly touch upon something new to hit the tech side of things. But something tells me because I didn't bring any equipment, I probably cost myself a ton of hits. So ladies and gentlemen, I need a moment of silence. There go my 2 million hits I probably would have gotten if I brought equipment. To give you a brief background of myself, this was a career path I originally didn't plan. And as you could probably tell, I am not a product of the pirate music generation. I just happened to be a regular at one of my favorite clubs, and the resident DJ came up to me and said, would I be interested in learning how to DJ? At this time, I had zero experience. The only thing I possibly had going for me were those dreaded piano lessons I took as a kid. Now, while my summers did suck, thank you for laughing, it did prove to be a valuable lesson in regards to DJing and having some type of music theory background. In addition, technology was nowhere as it is today. All I had were 2 turntables, 2 CD players, a mixer, and a microphone. Now, prior to technology, it's pretty safe to say being a DJ took some serious commitment. So, at my first nightclub gig, how did this crowd go wild? Well, that wow factor had to do more with music. It had to do more about presence. Mixing ability was not a prerequisite. You see, the music format at this club was anywhere from the 50s through the 90s. And pretty much all the DJs at this club were playing the same stuff. If anything I learned, it was the critical element of song placement. And that room's presence was brought to you by the DJs, the waitresses, the bartenders, and the door staff. And we were all basically performing routines to various songs. And the crazier we got, the better it was. Guitars without strings, toy saxophones, trumpets, sunglasses, wigs, tuxedo jackets, and much more. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, and I'm going to spare you, none of that is going to be recreated on these projecting screens. But if some of you are curious, video footage does exist. Whereabouts, disclosed right here, and I will not tell you guys. So now when the performing aspect of it, that fear factor, became a non-issue, the skip part was easy. But now here comes the music part. And that was a hurdle. Because now you're playing music not part of your generation. So one of the obvious things that still resonates today about being a DJ is finding oneself immersed in the music. Now there's a famous New York City DJ, in my opinion, a legend. And he was quoted saying in an interview, it's just knowing the music. And that quote still resonates today. Because if it wasn't for the knowledge I acquired back at that first nightclub, there's a real good chance I would lack a little bit in the creativity department. Maybe I wouldn't hear similarities about something old compared to something new. And for example, if any of you know Christina Aguilera's Ain't No Other Man, to me, it reminds me of James Brown's I Got a Feeling. Or bringing it to present day, I wouldn't be able to understand the correlation between Mark Ronson's Uptown Funk with many of the tracks of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So if any of you happen to be at that nightclub, my first gig, my prop, you would see this, vinyl. Now, I didn't bring this today because there's now a resurgence in vinyl, and any of you can go to a Barnes & Noble and find these. This, to me, represents tedious, persistent, obsessive dedication, possibly maybe even a little luck. It took me months to get this piece of vinyl. Now, in my close circle of friends, some know me as a huge Depeche Mode fan. So all of you today, you can consider yourself part of my close circle of friends. After DJing a shift at a popular venue, many of us from that staff went to a popular New York City nightclub. And during that night, a friend of mine who happened to DJ at the same venue that I did started banging me on my arm and saying, "This is it, this is it." What he was referring to was this piece of vinyl. It's a remake of a Depeche Mode track that he would often talk about. The only thing going through my mind is, I gotta have this. Imagine hearing a song being played on a ginormous system with the bass just pounding at your chest. And I immediately fell in love with this track, and it became my new favorite song. I'm sure all of us can relate to that moment where you made it known to your friends, to the world, on social media, what your favorite song is. So after the weekend, here comes the process of obtaining this. I would hit up various online record stores to see where I could get this. Well, there's a slight problem. This here is what they call a white label. White label, basically no writing, produced by small record stores or companies, labels, DJs, and sold through small stores. Many white labels considered unsolicited remixes or tracks maybe not yet licensed or not released. So I mean, instead of me babbling about this, it's just a bootleg. That preceding definition, brought to you by your friends at Wikipedia, I am not that good. Now this particular vinyl has only one side. You can't really identify it, but there's no grooves on this side. There is no B-side to this, just the one track. For ha-has, I recently checked online to see if I could pick this up as an MP3 or a WAV file on a electronic online music store. Nowhere to be found. Some of us go to great lengths to provide an optimal feeling on that dance floor for all of you. So here it is, if you were wondering, Depeche Mode's Only When I Lose Myself, Lexicon Avenue remix. So what do I do with this? Well, if I play the entire side, believe it or not, it's going to eat up more than half of the time I'm allowed for this talk, because it's over in 10 minutes in length. So before playing this track, I really need to know the ins and outs. What's going on here? Where do the vocals appear? Where does the bass come in? What other tracks would this possibly complement with? In DJing, one of the many things is what we call hitting the post. And in simplest of terms, the DJ wants to bring every song in at a precise moment. Now, vinyl shopping would be one of the avenues that I could purchase music. And online, if it had to be at a record store out of your location, it would entitle a road trip, mostly to New York. And at this store, there would be various listening stations. You'd put the headphones on and just waste a ton of money. Now, in addition to shopping, possibly approaching another DJ who's behind the remix or production may lead you to that gem of a track. I'll rest that there. About 8 or 9 years ago, I approached a DJ for a particular remix that he produced, and he was very hesitant at first. But after a couple emails, he did agree to send the track with one condition, that the trail would stop with me, that I wouldn't hand off this track to anyone else. Because you see, that track has not yet been released, and a DJ wanted to assure that massive copies weren't made available prior to its release. Unseen to many of us, the production side, it is very, very time-consuming. Now, with technology, all aspects of the process have become much easier. Or I should probably say the accessibility to music has become much easier. And with it, a ton of funny stories. There was a gentleman a particular night who approached me, and I just figured he wanted to make a request, and that was not the case. So I go, hey, what do you want to hear? He goes, no, I'm all set. I'm a DJ too. By the way, technology has spawned many to be a DJ. And if anybody has seen Portlandia, there's a certain episode that they do touch upon. And if you haven't seen it, YouTube it, Portlandia and DJ. You will laugh, I promise. Now, what this gentleman did next was the funny part. And it shows how the search for music has evolved. He proceeded to walk behind me to the other side to get a better look at my laptop screen. And why was this? Because he wanted to see what track was playing, artist and title. Now, just in case if some of you are wondering at what point did I time warp from the oldies to electronic music, I am that good. I kid. Us DJs, we need that wow factor too. We want to have fun with you guys on the dance floor. The more the DJ searches and explores music, the more they're going to be exposed, and they may find different types of genres of music, and all of a sudden they find that their music tastes have changed. And this is inevitable because we are music junkies. We are looking to captivate you on that dance floor. Now, if all of you look around today, I'm sure we could probably come up with numerous genres of music that we all listen to. And it is my task to take all those different genres, requests, and not only keep you entertained, but to make some type of sense out of it. I'm sure that all of us would rather be flying a plane smoothly in the air as to be exposed to like major turbulence. Referencing that legend of a New York City DJ, he was quoted saying some of your best DJs are great dancers. And this makes so much sense because dancers know how music should flow on the dance floor. A DJ needs to know how to read a room, when to play those gems, knowing when to make the crowd go wild, maybe possibly knowing when to shift direction if interest is slowly dwindling, and maybe change things up on the fly at moment's notice. Now to approach a night, for those of you who drive a standard, know that you start the car in first gear as opposed to fifth. And the same applies to a DJ's approach to a particular night. It doesn't matter if you're the only DJ on the lineup or if you're the fourth or fifth. Unfortunately, this has become a lost art, probably on the local level. There's an article entitled, "The Esoteric Art of an Opening DJ." And it is what it says, how a DJ should build a night into a crescendo, arriving up at a peak. Genres also do apply when it comes to an approach. Hip-hop, turntablism, tricks, scratching. What has recently become popular here in the States is what many refer to as EDM, or electronic dance music. And some may confuse EDM referring to it as techno, which happens to be my passion. And these two have two major differences. With EDM, very anthem-driven, playing hits, it's about the drops and the builds. While watching a simulcast, I watched maybe about 6 DJs at a time span of like maybe 4 or 5 hours. And I witnessed myself hearing the same song about 3 times. In techno, house music, any type of similar genres, it's what we call about the journey, about peaks and valleys. I may be playing one track here, looping this track, sampling something here while bringing in the next track. The following lyrics are from a song entitled Elements, which best describes about this journey. There's a voice that just says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am your DJ, and I'm going to take you on a tour. We're going to start here with the kick and the bass. And the lyrics later proceed, continuing saying, there are many elements to a track. That track was released in 1997, and it's pretty amazing what was introduced this year in 2015 that would have a correlation to those lyrics. So for now, for any tech heads out there, and I know they're out there, it's time now for my Apple moment. When I point to you guys, you go crazy. There's a company called Native Instruments, now releasing tracks what they call a STEM format. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the STEM. All right, that's better than a golf clap. I'll take that. Basically, a STEM is a multi-track audio format where the file contains a track split into 4 elements. There's your drum element, your bass element, your melody element, and your vocal element, or all 4 of them being a STEM. That STEM format provides the ability to freely interact with the track's different musical elements. Each STEM can be controlled independently, create instant new mixes, mashups, instrumentals, acapellas, and more. With this type of advancement, that wow component has just grown exponentially. In closing, I try to prepare a lot for a gig, to really do my best flawlessly, to avoid any letdowns, misdirections, with technical precision. And this applies everything musically. Later today, I am needed to be a church organist for a couple's wedding day. And then later on, morph into a nightclub DJ. No matter where I am, nightclub, wedding, sweet 16, a house party, the first song of every gig represents a brand new day for me. Think about it. Later on, the bride and groom, whose wedding that I get to be a church organist, today represents a brand new day. You, sir, possibly might have had a bad day today, and you're going to go out. Well, tonight represents a brand new day for you. And the same goes for me. I walk into these events with a blank chalkboard. I may have an idea what I want to play, but I really don't know what will transpire until it happens. And when it comes, that comes to be a brand new day. When you hear a brand new day, none of you think of the word mediocre. You think of a great day or a great time. Or in other words, you want to be wowed. There's a famous UK DJ that once said, I give the people a part of my soul each week. There's a care a DJ should have for the dance floor. Gadgets will always change. Music will always evolve. But that relationship between a dancer and a DJ will, for the most part, always stay the same. It's about a trust that's built between a DJ and a dance floor. So wherever you may be for that nightclub, wedding, celebration, you may be possibly looking to escape that daily grind, or you just might have had a bad day. I hope next time any of you go out and make that dance floor your home, I hope you guys are wowed. Thank you for your time.